As the Cubs move down the stretch, there's a couple of questions that you have for this team if they're going to contend for a championship. And right there is the top of the rotation. We're going to get into two guys that could be available that the Cubs would certainly want and would immediately become one of the aces on the staff. And how about Jorge Lopez? Is he a guy that the Cubs could be interested in reuniting with? He was let go by the Nationals, had a great year with the Cubs a season ago. We'll get into that as well. Thanks for being here on the Cubs Baseball Channel. Let's talk a little Cubs. Ladies and everybody, Mick Gillespie, Cubs Baseball Channel. Thank you for being here. Like, subscribe, thumbs up, hit the bell. I know Cubs fans, you can handle that. Cardinals fans, that second place mentality. All right, let's get into the show today. And I thought this was really interesting. Jesse Rogers, our friend, basically was talking about the Cubs having a potential trade candidate with the Arizona Diamondbacks. And basically what he said was, they signed Corbin Burns. Remember, he was with the Orioles. You remember him from the Milwaukee Brewers. Big contract. He's got an elbow injury. They're out of the race for their division, and their division is just so tough with the Dodgers, the Padres, and the Giants, all really good teams. They're under 500. The wild card doesn't look good. And you got two excellent pitchers in Zach Gallen and Merrill Kelly, free agents at the end of the year. And basically he says, how would you think one of these guys would look in a Cubs uniform? When you look around right now and you start to say, who's going to be a buyer and who's going to be a seller, right? And then what pieces do they have that they could sell you? There's some teams that are kind of on the bubble. Clearly the Rockies, the White Sox, maybe Baltimore, if they don't turn things around, would you would probably consider to be sellers, right? But what the Cubs need is something like this. You add Zach Gallen or Merrill Kelly. I mean, you're talking about pitchers that have postseason experience. Remember, the Diamondbacks went to the World Series a few years ago. These guys have continued to have great success. So far this year, Kelly's 5-2, a 3.78 ERA in 12 starts. He's in his career, his earned run average is 3.82. I mean, he's been really consistently good. He's a guy that you can put at the top of your rotation, and he's someone that when I look at him, I think, hey, this is definitely a player that would benefit the Cubs to have, right? And this is definitely what the Cubs are looking for. The other guy, Zach Gallen, was a Cy Young runner-up 3 different times, or maybe not runner-up, but in the conversation, right? Finished 3rd, 5th, and 9th in his career. This year, a little bit higher earned run average at 5.54, right? A 3-7 record in 12 starts. But and it's because the walks are up for him a little bit compared to the rest of his career. But still, I mean, he's a guy who gets to turn around fast. He's at top of the rotation pitcher. You guys have seen him. We've seen the Cubs take him on. So if the Diamondbacks continue to slide, their bullpen isn't any good. They're struggling. Look for these guys to be available. Now, there's going to be a lot of other teams that are going to want to work a deal out with the Diamondbacks, but it makes sense too. Not just their World Series experience and the fact that they're top of the rotation guys and they're going to be free agents at the end of the year, but also that they're not in your division. I mean, they're in your league, but they're not in your division. The Cubs and the Diamondbacks have made trades in the past, and I don't think that this is that far-fetched. So it's something that we'll definitely keep an eye on. Now, a couple of you guys have reached out, and it's definitely worth talking about. Jorge Lopez maybe possibly returning to the Cubs. You remember last year he was really good. He signed a 1-year, $3 million contract with the Nationals, and they let him go. He just wasn't having a great season statistically, way off from where he was with the Cubs last year. I mean, last year he had a 2.03 ERA and 24 relief appearances. He did really good. He was with the Mets. They were losing, made some comments. Remember, and he got let go, and then the Cubs picked him up. But this guy's got a ton of experience. He's been around the block a time or two. it feels like the Cubs have gone after these kind of guys. The question is there a reason why Lopez has had a bad season? Is his velocity down? What's the shape of his breaking ball? Has that changed at all? Is it bad luck? Who knows? I mean, was he bad in the clubhouse? I mean, you never know with these things, being from where we're at, looking in there. But I don't see why they wouldn't consider him. I mean, they've considered everybody else that's been out there, and I think that their sense of urgency is one of the reasons why this season's gone so well. So here's another guy that could help him. And the fact that the Nationals released him, I think they'd pick up the contract, so at least a lot of it. So anyway, we'll see what happens. Interestingly enough, though, the Cubs bullpen, and you look at it, it's been really good. And at the beginning of the season, they just had to go tinker and pick up guys. The Pomeranz pickup has been huge for them. They've had enough depth for when guys have gotten injured, like Porter Hodge. They've slid other people in there. Now Daniel Palencia closing out games. What a difference maker that could be if he could become a legitimate shutdown closer, and he's got the stuff to do it. So that's where we are for today. We'll remind you guys that the Cubs take on the Nationals tonight. It's in D.C., the first place Cubs. And, they played a horrific schedule at the beginning of the season. Now, all of a sudden, things are starting to kind of, get a little easier for them. I wouldn't say easier. They're major league games, but you're not playing the Dodgers and the Padres and Giants every game. Now you're playing teams like the Nationals, but you got to go out there and beat them. And so far this season, they've done a good job of winning those series. Get in the comment section. Tell me what you guys think. Like, subscribe, be a part of the channel. If you are, we appreciate it. And I thank you so much. We're going to try to get to 10,000 subscriptions. So tell your Cubs friends about us. And, we're working on getting some merch for you guys as well, some giveaways. All right, thanks, and have a great day. Go.